evening, Dr. Jones, fellow classmates, and audience members. My name is Corey Beggs. Has your favorite sport team ever lost a game on an overturned call, a no call, or a bad call? I'm here today to inform you of arguably one of the most controversial calls in the NFL this past 2015 season. As a diehard football fan, I try to be very open to fair calls, whether they go my way or not. The NFC divisional game of this year's playoffs was a game that was hard to comprehend, no matter who you were rooting for. Throughout this speech, I'm going to present you a little history on the rule in question, the actual NFL rulebook presentation on what is considered a catch, what's considered a football move, what is required for the booth review to overturn rules, and finally the actual play in question. The reference materials for this presentation include the following. Bedard, here's an idea, a catch should be a catch by the Monday morning quarterback. Calabrese, Des Bryant's catch overturned. 5 facts you need to know by Heavy Magazine. Greenberg, Des Bryant's amazing catch was not actually a catch because the NFL rules make no sense to anyone by the Huffington Post. Moretti, proof the NFL erred in overturning the Des Bryant catch by the Bleacher Report. And the actual NFL rulebook itself, Rule 8, Section 1, Article 3, retrieved from the statistics of NFL.com. I'm going to go ahead and pass out some pictures for everybody to compare some actual catches to. Let's start with the history of the rule in question. According to my sources, the first time someone had a touchdown overturned for this specific rule was in Week 1 of 2010. In this instance, Calvin Johnson of the Detroit Lions jumped for the ball, landed with 2 feet down, and as he came back up to a standing position, the ball jogged loose as he went to stand back up and came out of one of his hands. Thus, no touchdown was ruled. In an even more recent history, the same player from the actual playoff catch in question, Des Bryant, in Week 7 of the 2015 season, has an identical play as the one from the actual playoff game. In these pictures that I presented here, you'll see Des Bryant jump to catch the ball, land, take 3 steps, fall, switch the ball as he's falling to his other hand, lunge towards the goal line, and then fumble and him and the ball fall out of bounds. This was originally ruled an incomplete catch, then reviewed by the NFL booth, and overturned and called a touchdown. Furthermore, between the 2010 Calvin Johnson catch and the 2015 Des Bryant catch, the NFL introduced a new rule in 2011. My sources tell me these rules now include the following, quote, a forward pass is complete if a player who is inbounds, A, secures control of the ball in his hands or arms prior to the ball touching the ground, and B, touches the ground inbounds with both feet or with any part of his body other than his hands, and C, maintains control of the ball long enough after A and B have been fulfilled to enable him to perform any act common to the game, i.e. maintain control long enough to pitch it, pass it, advance it, or avoid or ward off any opponent, or etc. Part C is not necessary that he commit such an act, provided that he maintains control of the ball long enough to have done so. According to sources, to overturn the call on the field, there has to be indisputable video evidence in order to overturn the actual ruling on the field. Now I would like to ask the audience to take a close look at the pictures given in both sets of pictures. In the playoff catch, you will see Des Bryant catch the ball, make 3 steps inbounds, switch the ball to the other hand, land, as he's switching balls to the other hand, lunge towards the goal line. As he lunges towards the goal line, it is unclear if the ball actually touches the ground or not, as it does bobble loose as he rolls into the end zone. According to my sources, both switching hands, though, and lunging are considered football acts, as evidenced by the NFL rulebook. However, the NFL Vice President of Officiating, Stan Blandino, stated, and I quote, in order for it to be an act common to the game, a football move, it has to be more obvious than that, reaching the ball out with both hands, extending it towards the goal line. The NFL rules, according to sources, do not support this evidence, however. So it essentially leaves it to the head officiator in charge. Also, according to my sources, once a catch is secure and 3 steps are made, this is considered a catch by the act of taking 3 steps. In lost control, which would then be deemed a fumble by the NFL rulebook. If it would have been ruled a fumble, the Dallas Cowboys would have had the ball at their own 1-yard line. As a side note, the crew that officiated the game is this very same crew that officiated the Calvin Johnson catch in 2010. I'd now like to open the floor for any questions. Yes?
Do you feel like this was karma from the playoff before, where that actually the Lions got cheated by the Cowboys when it should have been in pass interference when it wasn't called?
That is a very fair question to ask. If you believe in karma, one could definitely say that that would be true. The NFL playoff that happened the week before was ruled, and the ref that ruled on that game was stated that the rule that he called the flag for didn't only apply in the college football realm. So when he told the head officiator this, the head officiator, based off the rule he threw the flag for, overturned that call and didn't drop the call. Had he called it for what everybody says that he should have called it for, then the play probably would have stand based off the voice of the actual head officiator from that game.
Do you think the NFL should clarify these rules to keep more things from this happening?
I do. Also, according to sources, they are actually going to be doing meetings during the off season to address these things, to make it more clear on what's considered football acts, football moves, how many feet need to be in bounds, things of that nature. As of right now, it's a little unclear. As evidenced by this, the Calvin Johnson catch, he landed, got 2 feet down. As he fell, the ball hit the ground, which would have been fine had he controlled it all the way through, but he let it go. That's why his was overturned. And the Dez Bryant catch, based off the actual NFL rule book, it seems like it should have been a catch, but it leaves too much to interpret by the head officiator, and that's something that they're looking to try to eliminate for the upcoming season. They're also looking to see if they can make that a challengeable review. Yes?
Do you think any foul play or favoritism would favor the calls in that situation?
I don't know if there's a lot of favoritism, but I do find it a little odd, a little convenient that the same crew that called it an incomplete catch was the same crew that called the incomplete catch of the Calvin Johnson catch. Whether you want to take that or not, it just seems to be how it goes. Any more questions?
With these rules being so hard to understand, even trained officials seem to have difficulty agreeing. I was wondering what effect that has on the fans' enjoyment of it once this thing becomes so complex and it's difficult.
That's the reason why they're looking to make it to where they can challenge play calls. From what I've seen, they're actually just going to make it, they're looking to try to make it to where only the playoff games can be challenged, because otherwise it makes the regular season too long.
For the actual games itself, all of these rules kind of like make the game not as enjoyable, because you have so many different calls and stuff like that. So do you feel like with these new rules that are about to come out, would that continue to limit the game, like to restrict the amount of fun that a player can have while being just playing the game itself?
I do, because if you look at the Dez Bryant catch, a lot of people thought that ruined an otherwise fantastic game, because had he just called him out on the 1 yard line, they could have scored it, left it up to Aaron Rodgers. It could have made for a goal line stand. Otherwise, but in this case, it left it to the officiating, which seemed to have ruined the game. In summary, I presented you with a brief history of the rule in question, what the actual NFL rulebook verbiage is, and then finally the actual call or overturn call in question. So I ask you guys, do you think it was a catch, an incomplete fumble, a good call, or a bad call? Thank you.